Welcome back, all you Fabricants and Fleshbags, to the not funny show, Supercast. The Supercast where we talk about all things superhero and pop culture, and that's video games, movies, TV shows. We talk about news and we do speculation, all that good nerdy stuff. I am Mode Poupée, your resident fabricant and comic extraordinaire on all things pop culture, joined by the anime expert, video game designer, and lover of all things superhero, my good friend Ladi. Ladi, how you doing today?
I'm doing fine. Ready to talk about all this stuff and go into these reviews.
Yeah, remember I was saying I probably said a week or so ago, but we're kind of living in like a kind of ridiculous nerd fantasy time right now because we just had She-Hulk, we had Sandman, Lock and Key season 3, the final season, dropped. The Game of Thrones prequel series just started yesterday. Lord of the Rings is coming soon. A new Star Wars series. Like it's kind of ridiculous right now. So we're good and busy watching all sorts of things. And Lottie, you were just telling me you're knee deep in Sandman.
Yeah.
So we're as soon as you're done with that, we got that coming to talk about. But in the meantime, we're going to be reviewing She-Hulk episode 1, and also we're going to be reviewing the newest episode of Harley Quinn on this episode. But before that, as usual, we have our news. Not a huge news week because D23 is coming up next month. We're kind of in between a lot of things, but we got a few things to talk about, like what could Kevin Feige be planning to do career-wise after Secret Wars is out. Chadwick Boseman is honored by Disney. Also, Kevin Feige, he made the Doctor Strange 2 creators watch another Marvel property to help them step their game up. There's fallout from HBO Max moves, like WB is doing their thing over there for ill or for good. We'll see. There's a little bit of a controversy going on related to She-Hulk, the post-credit scene on She-Hulk, and whether or not, what does it mean for Captain America? So, all that plus our review. So, Lottie, let's jump into this news.
All right.
I'm gonna do this the quick and funny one, real quick. The one I just mentioned, Captain America. He was a subject of debate in the newest episode or the first episode of She-Hulk. And this is a bit of a spoiler, so if you don't want to talk about this, I just thought it was funny because of how triggered it seemed to make people. What's wrong with us nerds? And I'm not, you know what? Fuck that. I'm not counting myself amongst these idiots that got triggered by this dumb little joke. It's a dumb little joke. And it's this. Apparently, again, spoiler alert. Jennifer Walters, she and her cousin Bruce, while they're doing their Hulk training, were just like, it sucks that Cap died a virgin because he didn't have time with all the things that were going on at the time in the 40s. He didn't have time to get his swerve on. And then when he woke up, he essentially jumped into like the Avengers fray. So he just died a virgin. But Bruce confirms that in fact he did have sex back in 1943. So as Jennifer Walters said, Cap fucked. So Lottie, just I don't even you can tell me how you feel about that at all too. But like, what do you think about all these fools online just kind of having a little bit of an existential crisis, realizing that their hero actually, had sex? Like, was he supposed to be like Jesus and never touch a woman? Like,
I mean, so here's the thing. I mean, first of all, it was a dumb joke, but it was meant to be a dumb joke because we all know Cap had sex confirmed at least once because he went. Well, I won't say once, but he had sex with somebody because he went back in time and was with his love and lived out the rest of her life with her. expecting him not to slide in there is just fucking ignorant. You know what I mean?
Right.
But at the same time, Captain America was tapping ass. I don't care what anybody says. The man was literally going with sideshows with all those fine women,
Right.
and you saw how he reacted when in Captain America 1 when that good-looking woman slid up on him and started kissing him. He didn't say no. So you're telling me that none of those women like pulled his pants down?
Well,
No, like
not that, because Cap's, he's not gonna do anything he doesn't want to do. I'm just saying, it's ridiculous. Like,
yeah,
first of all of y'all that are bothered by this need to, as the kids say, get outside and touch some grass. You thinking way too hard about this shit.
I think
Like,
there's like
it's
this
so it's
there's this like there's this like movement of like men now that are not even like Christian that think it's like a man should be virgin.
it's
Like and I'm not even talking like this is not like a Christian. This is just like there's something amongst like nerd men or just men in
it's
general
it,
that us men
yeah.
should be virgins and not soil ourselves with women.
That's it's that's their excuse. That's as the meme said, zero bitches.
Yes.
That's what it is. Involuntarily sell incel. It may be that's it, but I just saw this and I'm like, y'all are dumb. Just like seriously, go do anything else with your life right now, because clearly you can't be trusted around superhero and comic book media. If this is your stupid take on this, so man, sometimes I swear, Ladi, they make it so hard to claim being a nerd. Make it sometimes I'm just like, man, nah, that ain't me. So anyway, I thought it was stupid and also funny. So anyway, let's go on to some more serious stuff. Uh, for Disney, they're about to have D23s coming up next month, and part of that they honor people they call Disney legends, and they are going to be honoring Chadwick Boseman among a long list of other people. But I thought, because we hold Chad in high esteem around here. Uh, we're all saddened by his passing several years ago, and it's just that one thing. Disney, they do a bunch of stuff that sucks. Like, we can agree with that, right?
Yes.
But in this case, I think in the case of Chadwick Boseman, they've been classy as fuck. Like, in my eyes, they've been doing all the right moves, and so honoring him this way at D23, I think is good. And I just want to kind of read off, what they mean about it. So, they say that it's for people who have made an extraordinary contribution to the Disney legacy, which no doubt about that with Chadwick Boseman. But they had this to say. Said Chadwick Boseman was fueled by purpose and sought to fulfill that through writing, directing, acting, and activism. His breakout performance came playing Jackie Robinson in 42, followed by his next role as James Brown in Get On Up, and then starred in the title role of Marshall, which followed a young Thurgood Marshall. Boseman joined the Marvel Cinematic Universe as the African superhero Black Panther in Captain America Civil War, before bringing the character to the forefront of his own solo film Black Panther, which received critical acclaim, broke global box office records, and had a social and cultural impact felt globally. So, and they go on about other things he did, but that's really they're saying, look, this guy was like, he was the real deal. He's worthy of honor, and we at Disney, we're gonna recognize him. We're gonna make him one of our legends. Lottie, they're pouring, they are giving him his flowers, even after he's gone, obviously, but still they're giving him his flowers. So what do you think?
How I feel about this, I mean, I'm happy for it because he was a great actor. Showing him, you know, even though it's been like I said, it's been 2 years. It's better late than never. So I'm just happy to see that there, people are still giving the recognition for him. A man who definitely, passed way too young. People thought he was going to be the next great, you know. Well, I
Could
won't
could have
even
been
say
Denzel. Could have been the next
yeah,
Denzel. Yeah,
yeah. And just I'm just happy for it.
yeah. I think I don't like who's. I guess my question is, and I mean, I'm this is just rhetorical. I know no one's, but who's been like, man, the guy didn't really do anything. I think for Black Panther alone, I mean, that movie alone. But he was. We saw him in the fight. Did you ever? I don't know if you ever watched the Five Bloods, but he had a small but really great role in that. Like in 42, he's. I mean, as Jackie Robinson, great. As James Brown and Get On Up, just great. So like, definitely deserved. And I'm glad again that Disney's just they're stepping up and they're doing the right thing here. So I can't wait to see. I think we're gonna check that out when they do that next month. Um, so going with Marvel more, we were talking about Secret Wars and all of the big moves that Marvel's supposed to be doing in the future. They got Phase 6, 5, and 6 going on, whatever. Well, one of the things that we never considered is that Kevin Feige might not have anything else to do at Marvel. Do you ever think about that? Like, what else can this man do? Like, seriously, Secret Wars. Once that's done, there's a rumor going that maybe that's it for him, and that he's going to be looking for another challenge elsewhere. Um, and so,
DC, please, DC, 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 for the love of God, DC.
well, the reason why obviously this is a big deal, but is that a reasonable, you know, thing to consider that? Because we all look at Marvel Studios and we think, oh, it's Kevin Feige's baby, right? Is Marvel Studios without Kevin Feige? What does that even mean? I don't know. It feels weird to say Kevin Feige's leaving Marvel, but again, this is a rumor. But if it's true, you know, who would he go? And
DC.
what's Marvel gonna do once he's gone?
Marvel be fine. That pimp ass mouse will find somebody. You know.
Oh, yeah, you'll probably get Snyder stands insisting that he be the next one. I'm just, I mean, it's good. It's. Anyway. I'm sorry. I got to dunk on the Snyder stands at least once a week. But
I think to be honest with you, I kind of hope it's true because you don't want a man who's done good just continuously just doing the same thing over and over again because you know by the time all this is over it will be what 15 almost 20 years that he's been working.
well,
you
he's been
know
he's been working on Marvel things since the late '90s.
so yeah, it's like you know what I mean, it's like at this point let him move on to another challenge. If it's not DC, maybe he goes to Paramount stuff. Because Paramount's working on their own multiverse, or he could go to Sony, or like because
What
Sony.
do you think that he may be getting pigeonholed into being the shared universe guy?
Well, I don't even really say it will be a shared universe person. Like he could just start working with them on their different stuff instead of just being the Marvel guy. Like he doesn't have to be the head of the shared universe, but he could start working on like something else because there's other endeavors that are coming out soon, and eventually it'll be like you said, it'll be a new challenge for him. Something else, like for example, the new thing is that Sony wants to create their own video game movie slash TV universe. And I'm not saying Kevin Feige should be like the head guy, but he can help them with it, or he can start working on or directing one of their movies or something. You know what I
Well,
mean?
and he's not really a director. He really is a producer. He's a studio head. So his talent is yes, he's much more creative than most studio heads are, but his talent really is in identifying the people to do the work itself and to have some input story wise or whatever. I think what Kevin Feige, besides being a great leader and really able to recognize talent and recruit talent, one of his great assets is the fact that he's got a good understanding of story and what works. Like
Hmm.
like he's pulled back a little bit on some of the more hands-on story management, but his talent has been being the guy, being the producer that sees dailies or sees rough cuts and is like, well, that doesn't work very well, or you should do this, or you should. He just adds that little bit of Kevin Feige sauce onto it because he's got a good understanding of the story. And so, honestly, any studio that could get Kevin Feige right now to be a studio head and to be a creative producer would win. They'd be winning. I mean, I hadn't even said this yet, but what if the man went to Star Wars? I mean, he would stay with the same company, go to Star Wars. Do you think Star Wars will be in which it's not sinking or anything, but it's got about equal hits and misses right now. You think it'd be there if Kevin Feige was running that show? I I really fucking doubt it. I highly doubt that. That he's
Yeah, because they Star Wars is in a
it's it's
boy. Ooh,
it's fine right. Here's the thing: is Star Wars is fine right now, but it's not Marvel Studios, you know. And I think Star Wars would with Kevin Feige at the helm would kick ass. Or and here's another one. Now we're still talking about nerd franchises. What if he dipped his toe into Star Trek or Aliens or Predator or you know what I'm saying? Like there's all
yeah,
these franchises that that could definitely and of course DC.
and maybe start
DC would
kicking.
DC would be so lucky if they could get Kevin Feige over there, and they better treat him like a fucking king.
And he can start because they're under Disney now. He can start going over the Avatar and making sure that they're on an actual good release schedule. Hot damn it! Shit, man, you
Well,
don't
well,
gotta wait
I'll,
till
I'll
we're.
s- I'll say this much about Avatar: that ship will never sail. Not James Cameron writes his own. He writes his own ticket to anywhere, and no one tells him otherwise because he's earned it. He's got three. He's got three movies. Well, he's got two of the top three grossing movies of all time. So what can you say to this man? Like,
Yeah, that's
except
true.
whenever you're ready, man. It's just release. Um, but I think Feige. I mean, I think the sky's the limit for that guy. And as much as I'd hate to see him leave Marvel, I'd be excited as hell for wherever he ended up landing. Hell, you know what? Take his ass over to Sony and fix the Spider-Man universe. There you go. Problem solved. Sidestep into the to Sony Spider Verse and get their shit together. There you go. Solve the problem. So anyway, it's just a rumor. Well, if any truth comes out of this, we'll let you guys know. Sticking with, I guess, Feige and the special Feige sauce. I feel like I've coined a good phrase, the Feige sauce. Um, Lottie, did you know that Kevin Feige, when he was talking, I guess he brought all the Doctor Strange 2 creators to the side, or writers and whatever, and was like, "Hey, you guys sit down and watch this." And he had them sit down and watch the What If episode with Doctor Strange, and was like, once they were done, he's like, "Well, y'all got to beat that." It's essentially what he says. Like, y'all, there you go. That's what y'all have to you know start from. And so essentially, what the one of the producers or writers on there was saying was that they watched that and they're like, "Holy shit, we gotta do better than that." And I bring this up partly because it's funny. It's fun. I just imagine him saying, Feige saying, "Y'all can't get beat by a damn animated show," but also that the fact that again, I say Kevin Feige's got the secret sauce right. The man literally watched this show, looked at the the writers and creators on Doctor Strange 2, and we're like, y'all got to do better than this because we're giving y'all all those hundreds of millions of dollars, and these guys that are working on the animated thing are like going hard right now. And so, Lottie, also, I think this sort of speaks to the success of the cross pollination, that sort of thing that Feige brings to the table, because he sees all and he knows all, and he knows how to kind of light a fire under people, if you will, not in a way that demeans them or depresses them, but like gets them their creative juices going in a productive way. So anyway, Lottie, you hear this story. What does this say to you about him and his the creative process and what he brings to the table when it comes to helping get the most out of the Marvel creative process?
Almost sounds like competition, like that, like football locker room competition. It's like billboard, like, hey, you see this? Beat that. I kind of like that. I like that, because that episode that was definitely one of the best episodes in What If, in my opinion. Probably, I don't know if it was the best in my opinion, but I really did. It's definitely in my top. And like for him to say to them, for him to say, look at this episode, and you guys should do better than that. Not a lot of people would take their animated, like stuff that's in the animated part of the universe as seriously as like someone like him,
Yeah,
and that does say a lot.
I like that. The quote is the guy that's talking about it. The quote is, uh, he said that Kevin had them. This is from one of I guess the writer or something of that episode or whatever. Said Kevin had them watch our stuff and was like, "You guys better watch out because this shit's good." And I'm like, "See, that's what I'm talking about. Like, that's the secret sauce I'm talking about. Like this guy. You're right. I like the competition thing that you mentioned because these guys, they're all writing in the same universe or whatever, and they want to see what other people are doing. What are they doing that's good? And they don't want to copy. They don't want to duplicate what the other guys did and everything. And there's this tendency in Hollywood for people to look down on animation. But what if legit was a legit MCU in universe canon thing that had writers that went hard, and now the movie guys are just like, shit, we gotta like really go in. And I like that. I think that there's the competition aspect, not just competition, not just wanting to do something that hasn't already been done before, is like a good thing. And so Feige's dude's playing 3-dimensional chess around this bitch, and
Hmm.
that's why I said if DC gets him, they'll be so lucky because he'll fix that shit up, no time. But anyway, that's I just I know, yes, we're always praising Feige around here, but I mean, when you hear stuff like this, why wouldn't you? He's making the MCU better because he sees it all and he knows what's up. So anyway, that's just cool stuff. uh, let's talk about HBO Max, and this is our last bit of news for today. So y'all know some WB Discoveries, they're doing all sorts of shit right now. They're trying to save money, canceling shelving movies, canceling movies. Rumors about, shows they may be canceling. And then this last week, there's this big, out purge, if you will, the purge. Not with people in masks and guns, but instead with the delete button on HBO Max, because they got rid of like 30 shows. And it's all in the name of saving money. So if they take them off of HBO Max, they don't have to pay residuals to the creators. It's some bullshit. Some stuff that I wanted to watch but I hadn't gotten around to got taken off. And so far, I don't think any DC stuff has yet. but who knows in the future. But part of the fallout to this that is that a bunch of animated stuff that was in development has been it hasn't been canceled because I guess they spent the money and they're still making these things, but HBO Max has declined to carry them. So essentially, what's happening is that Warner Brothers Television or Warner Brothers Animation has paid money to make things, and HBO Max was where they were supposed to go, but they were like, "Nah, we're good." So now they got to find some place to actually land. Otherwise, they just spent that money for nothing. So, yes, Ladi, the WB Discovery regime sure is doing so many great things for us customers. Or in my opinion, they're just doing it for their bottom line because the shareholders and shit. So why the hell should we care? Because the Batman, the Cape Crusader animated show, which we were both quite excited for when we heard about it, is among those shows that's not being picked up by HBO Max. Lottie, at what point do we break out the pitchforks and torches and storm the Warner Brothers lot? Because they own some fuck shit right now.
The two things that will make me literally cuss the name of Discovery is if they cancel either one of these two things. If Robert Pattinson's Batman is out, or if they get rid of Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker, I will throw a fucking fit. I will cuss the name of DC. I mean, of not DC, of Discovery for doing such abominable things. This is not right now. It's paining me, but I'm being quiet because I thought they canceled it, but I'm like, okay, somebody's gonna pick it up. Netflix is desperate. Netflix is gonna take it. They're desperate. So,
well, I think you're right about that. Any other streamer would be like, fuck yeah, bring that. First of all, they just, I can't imagine this is terribly expensive, but they also gonna be like, oh, we got Batman over here. Like Netflix would be ideal.
Yeah, Netflix is desperate.
Yeah, their animation department, like they're going hard on animation right now. Original animation, anime is making its way over there, so they're not against it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree. I think it's likely they are gonna pick somebody's gonna pick it up. But this is just this trend, this trend of WB Discovery. I understand they're supposed to be in it for money. I'm not saying they shouldn't be, but I always thought that, and I think you may have said something to this effect before. I was under the impression that the way you made money was to make shit and put it out, and people come and pay to watch it. I didn't realize that you could make money by starting to make something, be like, oh well, never mind. Let's and then just you you get money through tax savings. What kind of bullshit is that? Am I wrong? Like, what kind of bullshit is it that your business model can be? We can save, X number of millions of dollars by starting to make something and then be like, oops, we don't want to anymore. And the government's like, that's fine, just don't pay taxes on it. Am I crazy? Like, a big business corporation, obviously, they have different rules than we do. But it's just, I am optimistic like you, but this is just some shit. Because what else is next? What else that we wanted to see or we're looking forward to are we not going to get because these guys want to save a little money on their taxes?
I mean, it's like my mom said, the difference between a rich man and a working man. A rich man will throw away something that's worth a lot of money very easily, while a working man will make sure but his money that he invested on, even if it turns out terribly, that thing is coming out. Like for example, if you bought like this just chair and You are having a terrible time putting it together. You're gonna put that shit together.
Yeah.
A rich person will just throw it away.
Yeah.
A working person, that chair's getting put together.
That's it's just their shenanigans that the legal shenanigans that they can
Yeah,
do. And it's just I'm just like, do we really want the bean counters to be in charge of creative shit?
yeah.
Because you're talking about the Batman and Joker. They're safe as safe can be because both of them made big bucks, so they're safe. They're safer than safe. But it's smaller things like Doom Patrol, or even Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn
Dude,
is universally.
better not.
Yeah, I'm just saying Harley Quinn is easily one of the best things that Warner Brothers Discovery has on HBO Max right now. And if it just doesn't do enough numbers, they're just gonna be like, well, fuck it, Or not even if it doesn't do enough numbers. If it was in their interest to save them a little bit of money, maybe they cancel it. Because the people that are running things there, aren't necessarily, the creatives, or even the people who manage the creatives who know how to sort of keep the relationships going. Now they do have Alan Horn over there right now that is advising, so that's good because he's good at relationships with talent. But man, this whole gotta save a dollar shit might have us losing out on a bunch of good stuff. They just, like I said, just got rid of a bunch of shit off of HBO Max just to save money on residuals. Whatever, however much that is, because apparently not enough people were watching these things, and that's the sort of calculus they're about to start doing. They're about to start disappearing things from the catalog because it's cheaper to just not let any of us see it that might want to see it than it would be to pay the residuals to the creators that are owed it. That's the reality we're living in. So right about now, I don't know, physical media is starting to sound real good, huh? Like, hey,
Yeah.
just like, and you face this too with video games is, games that no longer being available on Steam or something like that. So how do you get it? Like
Or
the
even like stuff like Game Pass and all that stuff.
Yeah,
They constantly take games down.
yeah, exactly. But the thing is, you can still get it if you have the disc, right? Well, these
Yeah.
motherfuckers are they're about to get people to start going back to hitting up Pirate Bay. Keep on,
Yeah.
just keep playing this fucking game. I'm just like, y'all keep playing this damn game. Where you just like, nah, we're just gonna take it off, and you remind people that, oh, we don't own any of this stuff. This shit's not available forever. This isn't a library where there's a book, books that we can always get. Nope. This is, someone letting you watch their TV, their DVD collection, and if they decide they don't want you to see their collection, you're shit out of luck. And so we're gonna start seeing people hit up Pirate Bay again. But you know what?
Yeah.
Let's let them find this out for themselves. Well, maybe they just feel like, who cares? Y'all weren't paying for it in the first damn place, so it doesn't bother us if you go pirate Infinity Train or whatever. I don't know. I'm just like, my misgivings for Warner Bros. Discovery have been growing and growing. So I don't know. Anyway, Lottie, we'll see. We'll see what happened in the future. So anyway, that's all the news for this week. What do you guys think about what we were talking about? What do you think about what we had to say? Or maybe you had something that we missed or you wanted us to cover in the future. Just get down to the comment section. Let us know what you're thinking. And of course, you can always hit us up, supernotfunnyshow@gmail.com or at supernotfunnys1 on Twitter. All right, Lottie, so we got 2 reviews to do now. You know what? Let's do Harley Quinn first. Let's do Harley Quinn. So, the latest episodes, this is a follow-up to the previous one, which, by the way, was flipping hilarious.
Yeah.
With where they go down to see Swamp Thing. And so now, as they say, now for something completely different. I cannot believe this, but this episode had almost zero Harley or Quinn or
Yeah.
Medicine Woman or or what's her Ivy or really anybody we've been following at all, except for the Joker. It's episode 6 called Joker: The Killing Vote, which, by the way, these guys are these not some of the smartest damn writers at all? Like it's constantly, you know, who they are nearly on par as far as I'm concerned with the kind of like wit and humor. They're almost on par with the boys. Like the way they just kind of take the piss out of everybody, and they're hilarious. That the Killing Vote. As soon as I saw that, I was like, I laughed hard because I was like, man, these guys are on it. But anyway, so this episode is, you know, it's so funny. You got the Joker, and he wants his stepkids to get into this special program that has a few seats, and then he's mad that there's this, you know, real, you know, shitty other parent who's lording over the fact that she's got connections. And he's just like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna run for mayor so I can make shit happen. And it's like, it is the weirdest, but also the most satisfying Joker story in the sense that it literally is a Joker story.
Yeah.
He does everything you expect a Joker to do, except he's not trying to kill anybody, right? He's not trying to. He's literally trying to run for mayor of Gotham, and only in Gotham would this shit work. Right?
the man robbed the bank, and he's giving the money away. Here, everybody, I'm giving the money away. Oh shoot!
Yeah. There's so many things to this episode that I think are hilarious and smart and poking fun and making an actual real world, you know, points about things that are going on in the real world. And I'm just like, how are you guys doing? It's crazy to me that, to me, one of my biggest takeaways is you guys literally managed to take Joker, make him, you know, defang him of sorts in the sense that he's not a murderous, rampaging person. He's still the Joker, but he's Joker in a different way that's not villainous. And I'm just like, how'd you make him a non-villainous character and still make him equally as interesting as he was before? I'm just like, wow. So anyway, I've been talking a lot. Ladi, what'd you think about this episode?
Oh man, I love the episode. You know, his greatest adversary was a woman, because I like, it's a joke that's like told all the time in like TV shows and everything. The women running like the after school stuff and all that stuff, they're like impossible to deal with, and it's funny to see Joker having trouble with it, trying to get his biracial kids into a bilingual class, and it shows you how corrupt the student government is. It's how the heck is kids who can speak Spanish can't get into a Spanish class, a Spanish club.
He was trying to get them so that they could, because remember his son, his stepson, is feeling ashamed of his name, Benicio.
Yeah.
And what's so great is like Joker, he really is. I can't believe I'm saying this. He's a great dad.
Yes,
like,
he's a great dad.
How is that? How is he a great? He's an amazing dad. Even when he sort of slips up later on because, his campaign is going so well, and he starts doing that. Oh, I gotta miss your game, son, because what I got going on is more important. And then he totally undoes that and redeems himself completely when he goes.
Yeah, that threw me off when he was like either that. He's just like, okay, whatever. I don't have to be mayor. So what? You really thought this was a tough decision? It was so crazy that even Two-Face was like, wait, what? He's like, you really thought that was going to be a tough decision? Go ahead. Then Two-Face being petty, he's like, well, fuck it, I'm still gonna kill you because I'm just a petty motherfucker.
Also there's another good thing is that Gordon gets sort of redeemed because he's he's a fucking idiot in this show, but he
Yeah.
gets redeemed in the ways that matter. He was trying to choose Two-Face over his daughter, and then he ends up acting like, no, I choose you. Um, I like that he's not gonna be like the kind of the low key villain or something. He's just a fucking idiot, and
Yeah.
that's no crime, not really, but um, I like that. I said they said some real shit, right? Joker's like, I am a socialist. I'm gonna steal all this money from the rich people. I'm just gonna give it to all of you people, and he totally wins. Again, only
Yep.
in Gotham. We're in a political environment where saying such things gets you dragged by certain elements of society, and especially like the mainstream media or whatever. But this is motherfucking Joker, and it's I cannot. It's I don't know whether to be how to feel about the fact that the Joker is a prominent socialist who runs the city or is going to run the city. But I'm just like, okay, well, why not? Because let's be honest. In the history of Gotham, Gotham sucks. Gotham has been trash for so long. So why the fuck not go with the Joker? At this
Yeah.
point, that's when they were like, he's got a campaign and people are really feeling it, and now like he might be mayor. I was like, you know what? He's the mayor y'all deserve. He's not the he's the mayor y'all deserve because Gotham sucks. And I honestly I've never understood why anyone wants to live there. But I mean, why not? Why not go? Mayor Joker. It's and then we don't even get Harley Quinn to the very end. They're like, "What the fuck? We were gone 4 days," and I was like, "Yep, it's Gotham City. What do you expect?" So I just man, this episode was so good. It's
Yeah.
this whole season has been. I know I was saying the first two they didn't wow me, but like this season has just been going hard, and I love this episode so much, and I cannot wait to see what Gotham is like with Joker. With good Joker, let's call him that. What's not Daddy Joker running the show. I also and hopefully he'll get Carl to stop shooting, shooting people. Anyway,
I just have to bring up this part where he threw the money at the chick and he's like, "Oh, I thought you were." We locked eyes, honey. We locked eyes.
oh man, the writing on this is top notch. So, anyway, yeah, I think we really had good fun with this. So anyway, what do you guys think about it? Just get down to the comment section. Let us know what you're thinking. And as always, supernotfunnyshow@gmail.com or at supernotfunnyS1 on Twitter, so we can talk about this episode. So we had one other thing to review. That's She-Hulk. She-Hulk premiered last Thursday. Yes, that's right. Disney Plus premiere, not on a Wednesday. It's on Thursday nights. One episode dropped. I think it was. I don't even remember how long it was, but I think it was called a normal amount of rage. was what it was titled. And this, of course, had mostly featured Bruce Banner and Jennifer Walters as she accidentally. They never really quite explained why the accident happened. I mean, we saw they were trying. She and her Bruce were. That's her cousin. They were on a trip and talking, and then spaceship comes out of nowhere, and they get in a crash, and then her wound and his blood, and now she's a Hulk, and now she's got to figure out how to be a Hulk. But it kind of starts off as like cold open starts with her getting ready to go to court, to have to do a court case, a lawsuit or something like that, and then it all ends with the court proceedings getting interrupted, and she gotta go Hulk and everything. That's essentially what's going on. So anyway, I got some thoughts, but Ladi, what do you think about this first episode?
Be honest, I was not feeling this episode. I don't know. It didn't make me laugh. I didn't find I none of the jokes really landed for me, you know. And I heard from like different people's reviews that I think Disney made a bad choice not showing like a lot of people I saw that like watched the first four episodes, they kind of said the same thing that they don't understand why Disney only showed the one episode because they said it kind of needed the second episode to play into the first episode because it just felt like how could I say it just felt like a like I liked the parts of where they were Bruce Banner were together and the little small little training montage. But the jokes really didn't land for me because I don't know, it just didn't come off as funny to me. I like the little Easter eggs that they put in there. Like the Sakar ship where they're probably teasing Planet Hulk. Uh his helmet was there and I would say the one thing that I was just like, wow, I kind of wish in my like how I was imagining the scene, I thought their car wreck was gonna happen, and then she got fatally injured, and him as Hulk took her to his place and he injected the blood in her, but just little droplets of blood made her into the She-Hulk, kind of like I don't know. It kind of is like a big plot hole because there's a lot of times Hulk has bled on people
Yeah.
and they've never
Well,
turned into the Hulk or poisoned them.
I'll answer that for you. It's he explained that it was a DNA thing that because they have similar genetics, and I think that this is actually leading to um, an explanation that we know from the comics about why superpowered people occur on Earth.
Hmm.
It's part in part because of you know certain people they have DNA that's been that they are descendants of people whose DNA were fooled with excuse me by alien Kree or whatever, and some people are mutants like Kamala Khan, and some people are inhumans or whatever, and so he literally was just like, oh, I examine your DNA, it's just like mine. We have the ability to process gamma radiation. That's why you can be a Hulk. So the thing was that his blood doesn't necessarily make anybody else a Hulk. So you have to be compatible, or you have to have your DNA altered like Abomination in order to become a Hulk. That's pretty much what's going on. So anyway, so you didn't think it was all you didn't like the jokes so much.
Yeah,
What
it's. What are
I
you
was
about to say?
Oh yeah, I was gonna say you didn't like the jokes so much. What did you think about the CGI? Like the presentation, the CGI. You know, because it's very CG heavy. This episode
I
was.
will say this. I, I felt they put more effort to make uh Hulk Bruce Banner's Hulk look better than hers, and it's you could kind of see it. It just her Hulk looks, and I also watched this guy explain it because instead of making her muscular like the Hulk is, they just made her taller and bigger. It almost looked uncanny. So it
Yeah,
just looks wrong. That it's not that the CGI looks bad, it's the actual model of her that they used. It just looks wrong. It's sort of like it's like you said. It's like imagine you're playing a video game and the character you're playing as is a 9 foot character. It will just look wrong. The character looks right. It just looks wrong in the environment because, like I said, when you look at Bruce Banner's Hulk, he's super muscular. You can see all the muscular defining things on his body. Her, she just looks like her, just 8 foot tall.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Just big. She's bigger, filled out a little more.
Yeah.
I mean, Tatiana Maslany, she's not a big person.
Yeah.
So she's just and we should note this is exactly the way it is in the comics too. Like in the comics, She-Hulk is not a roided out. She's just a really, I mean, she's a really tall, green, and muscular woman. So there's sometimes being faithful to the comics, maybe that doesn't necessarily work. I mean, I personally I like this episode. I didn't love it. I liked it, and I see it for what it is, which is where this is the jump off point. So you got to explain what's going on and where for the rest of the series. There's 8 more episodes after this, so they're sort of like saying, all right, this is how we got here. And I like the cold opening bit where this is what's happened. I like the fact that she jumps right into the I can talk to the audience thing. That's
Hmm.
what's cool. And then later on, you see the first moment she realizes that being She-Hulk lets her talk to the audience, which was fun. Like, I mean, it plays out like a pseudo, like something of a sitcom, and
Yeah.
I'm all for it. The MCU needs more types of shows, and a legal comedy where the main character can talk to the audience. I'm with that. So I mean, for me, most of the jokes were pretty on, as far as I was concerned. I think what I think what kind of maybe my expectations were a bit high or something like that. At times I was just like, yeah, this is cool and all, and y'all, but maybe y'all are belaboring the point a little bit. Maybe you're going a little too long on this particular joke or on this particular scenario.
I think that's probably what it was. I was expecting it to be Harley Quinn funny, and it probably I should have never came with into that with that type of expectations. But I mean, when the directors and the people who were writing the show were hyping it up to be like that funny, so I guess I should have just been like you said, to see what it is as more of like a sitcom with probably some like laughs here and there instead of me rolling on the ground laughing.
Yeah, but I mean, and we got to remember it's still an MCU show, so they're still gonna have to have superhero fights and all that other stuff. And also, Jennifer Walter, we don't really know her, so we got to get to know her too. And she puts herself on display here. And in fact, we see her more completely, I think, than we would if she were around other people, because this is her cousin. She's a lot more free to be who she is, and she's under a lot of stress or whatever. And she kind of figures out this whole Hulk thing, or at least she thinks she does, pretty quickly. I think there was you know, there's some parts of this that it's sort of controversial or whatever. They're not very controversial to me. She takes to being a Hulk pretty quickly because she doesn't have another person inside of her. She doesn't have a separate personality. Jennifer Walters is Jennifer Walters no matter what's going on.
I
So
mean, that's comic book canon.
yeah, I mean, she literally doesn't have to learn how to deal with the monster inside of her because she's already dealt with the monster inside of her for years, and it's not a monster inside; it's just her. And so, taking becoming and let's be clear here, she's not better than Bruce. She's it's pretty clear that Bruce is
Yeah,
strength
yeah, that's one
strength
of the things.
physically, strength wise, everything is better than her. What he's not better than her at is his own internal, his own internal mental landscape. But he's getting there. What's great about it, like, I know a lot of people seem to think that she's sort of shitting on him about his, how long it took for him to get his shit together. But also, in a way, it's also showing that despite a lot of, what I consider to be many difficulties to actually bring himself together, he's actually gotten to a point where he actually is in a healthy mental landscape. And, you know, he does have stuff to offer to her, but also he has to understand that, hey, everyone's journey is different. Like, part of the, that we'll talk about the controversial kind of tirade she had. And I don't even like to call it tirade. She's more or less just kind of putting him in his place. But to me, the fact is that he's just like, hey, I know what it's like to be Hulk. Let me tell you all about it, And he's more or less telling her, control your anger, and she's just like, and she should be like, hey, we're not the same person. You can't sit there and expect to tell me you know exactly what to do for me because we're not the same person. No two people are mentally the same. And so it was nice, but when he kept insisting that he knew better, she kind of got upset about it. It was like, hey, chill. Like I got this. You don't have to, tell me about how to control my anger. I've been doing that forever and a day. And proves it by, controlling her hulking. And I think you and we sort of had we didn't really have a back and forth. I kind of saw what you said about it, and I was like, well, I don't necessarily see it that way. So let me ask you, to me now that having seen that and thought about the scene and everything, what about it bothered you? And
it wasn't that it was nothing that she said bothered me. Like I have no problem with what she said. It was just I didn't like that she said it to Bruce Banner. Sort of like it was like sort of a speech that I felt that if it was Iron Man or somebody else would be like, okay, yeah, you're right. But it was just like to Bruce Banner, I kind of felt that it's sort of like, for example, like if I told one of my cousins who's been through a lot that I'm like, well, I've had to deal with it because I've lost a family member, and they were like, well, your family member was my family member, and I also lost other people as well. So it's just like it was just sort of like one of those things that I just went like, it just kind of just threw me off a little bit. That I was just like, I don't think in the more and more I sit back on it, she's human. She was just angry, and I don't think she meant it. She meant to say what she said to her cousin that way. It was just out of anger, and I'm pretty sure, she probably was like, "Damn, I didn't mean to say that to you." And Bruce Banner, showing he could control his anger, just looked at it like, "Yeah, you are getting angry, so part of me is right, but you are not like about to like strangle me." So that's all I was saying. Like some people were like, because like it all started like on Twitter because we were
because
talking about the thing, and a
where
lot of
all shitty things start, but yes.
yeah, people thought I was being like this, anti-feminist or like, basically defending the mansplainers. And I'm like, I have no problem what she said. All I was saying is just like, in my opinion, I would not have, if I was in her position, I would not have said what she said to the Hulk because of family. That's all it was. That's just, I would not have said
Well,
it.
and I
It
think
just,
that the fact that their family is the reason why she was felt free to kind of go off a little bit. Just be like, hey, because I think she was free to actually express something that maybe to another man she wouldn't have.
Mhm.
And I think the reaction to it is the reaction that some certain segments of fandom have had to it is actually like, you guys are just kind of proving a point here. You're kind of proving her point about that she couldn't even just be angry about being mansplained to without someone's calling her crazy or disrespectful or she's going on a tirade or whatever. I'm like, okay, so you prove her point that a dude could be mad and everyone's fine with it, but if she is, there's all sorts of repercussions for it. And so, I listened to it. I was like, didn't bother me. I think that if that hits you in your if that hits you personally, I think you might want to think about yourself. But honestly, I really think you ought to think about yourself because she wasn't saying anything out of line as far as I could tell. I think you have a point that maybe who she was sort of going off on, maybe that wasn't the right person, but she wasn't saying anything out of line.
It's kind of because the one of the reasons why it came up to me because I've recently had a moment like that, with a family member when I was in Nigeria, and like afterwards, my brother like pulled me to the side and was like, "Hey, man, you know, I know she's our mom, but she was a mom to them too." And I had to remember my cousin, my aunt passed away not too long ago too, and that was their mom. So to him, he lost two moms, and I was like, damn, I didn't think about it. So I was like, damn, for me to say what I said to him. Now I looked back and I thought about it. I was like, damn, you know, he's been through more than I have. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Which isn't to say that what you've been through is lesser or anything.
Yeah,
And I think that maybe that's what the way it maybe was taken, that she's just like, I'm better than you because you know my the things that I'm mad about are better or worse than yours. And I don't think that what that is. Just that learning learning how to control one's emotions. It's not a fucking Olympics. It's not the oppression Olympics. It's not the who's had it worse. It's how you deal with it, and you learn the tools you learn to deal with it. And unfortunately, Bruce took a longer path to get to his where he's good than she needs to. And him accepting that that's true is one thing, and her accepting that yes, his difficulties are real and everything like that, and not diminish them. So, but I mean, there's a lot of stuff like that going on in this show, and unfortunately, you're right. That first episode probably needed the second episode too, which really tells me something about the writing, which is maybe y'all should make first episodes actually work as first episodes. I'm
yeah.
just saying, maybe I shouldn't have to watch two episodes to get this correctly. That's just a thought for the future. All that said, Jennifer loved it. She's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I love that. I was like, well, then it worked. Because, and it's probably another thing is that we know a lot about this character, right? So our
Yeah.
expectation is different. She doesn't know anything about She-Hulk, and she loved the episode. So maybe they're doing the right thing after all. Maybe it's us and our expectation and our prior knowledge is what
Yeah,
sets us up like that.
yeah, that because I was coming, like I said, I was coming into this basically thinking this was going to be the Harley Quinn competitor. So that's just unfair expectations because Harley Quinn is on its third season of basically busting my gut. So
Yeah, but I mean, we'll see. Like we got 8 more episodes to go. I was disappointed that Titania was in there for like all of
yeah,
a
that
minute.
that one,
I,
oh
I, I
my
hate that. And
goodness.
I hate that because like I recently, thanks to the She-Hulk, kind of marketing stuff, I was like, who the hell is Titania? Then I realized who she was, the actress, and started following her on Twitter. And first of all, and I want to give Jamila a shout out. Like Tatiana Maslany, she's great. We got Mark Ruffalo, he's great. I liked him a lot in this episode. But Jamila Jamil as Titania looked badass. I don't give a fuck about all this bullshit that people are saying about she looked stupid. No, she looked awesome. And I've come to find out after having followed her, she's actually a really cool nerd. She's British. She's super into nerdy stuff and everything like that. She's like a somewhat older version of Iman Vellani, who's a super Marvel nerd, and she just nerds out and freaks out. But even though she's an actor and she's in the MCU, like so she goes to premieres and sort of like freaks out because she got to like meet, she got to meet, Jeff Goldblum, or she got to meet, you know, different people that are in the MCU. So shout out to her. Because I thought for her minute that she was in there, she was pretty cool, and I can't wait to see her again in the show. So, anyway, I'd say, you know what? episode good. And so I'm looking forward to the next episode. What say you, Lottie?
Yeah, I want to see what happens in the second episode. I kind of feel like I have to watch the first episode again, then go into the second episode because it feels like if you know what I mean. It feels like and every person I've watched review it, and they said they watched the first episode by itself. They even said that they don't know why Disney decided to just make this a one episode premiere, but we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. So anyway, that's our thoughts on this first episode of She-Hulk. What do you guys think about it? What do you think about what we had to say? Get down to the comment section. Let us know what you're thinking. Of course, you can always hit us up, supernotfunnyshow@gmail.com or at supernotfunnys1 on Twitter. And you're down there hitting that button, also hit that subscribe button. Join the Super Not Funny Show family. Help us grow this channel. We also, you can hit the notification bell to let you know when we drop new content. And, that's every week we're doing new reviews and, of course, this podcast. So, and more to come in the future. Of course, I can't do this by myself. Need my good friend Ladi to help me out with his insight. So, Ladi, can you tell them where they can reach you on social media?
You can always find me on my Instagram, which is Anukinihun. Again, it's Anukinihun, ANUKINIHUN. Again, it's ANUKINIHUN. I'm beginning to drop more content, and it seems like Instagram has not officially given me the blue check mark, but they're pretty much promoting my stuff without me even having to do it myself. So, you know,
Nice.
try to get on the bandwagon before the train moves on. And of course, you can always find me on my YouTube channel, which is Keeney Hoon 25. I'm going to get back to streaming and playing video games soon. There's actually a video game I'm interested in. So, you might see me streaming that probably this weekend. So whenever you have time, just drop by, leave a like, go follow, a comment, or subscribe.
Yep, everybody go hit all that up. Show Lottie some love. All right, all you Fabricans and Fleshbags, thanks once again for joining us. This was the 65th episode of the Supercast. Come back next week. We got plenty more reviews and news to talk about. Till then, I have been Mo de Pupe, resident fabricant and comic extraordinaire on all things pop culture, joined by the anime expert, video game designer, and lover of all things superhero, my good friend Lottie. We'll see you guys on the other side of the thread. Peace.
Peace.